Good evening, everyone. I am Reverend Rahab from Kenya, an Anglican priest, and a member of INERELA ambassador. INERELA means International Network for Religious Leaders living with or personally affected by HIV. Today, I'm going to speak on the topic Ministry of INERELA to Adolescents and Youths in Eastern Africa in general and particularly in Kenya. In Kenya, which I take as model in East Africa, more than 65% of the whole population lies from 35 years and below. That means in Kenya, the population, young people and children are more than the adults. And the highest population is born during the era of HIV. And this is because the first case of HIV was reported in early 80s. And as most of us are aware, that HIV faced stigma of the highest level, and even today, which has today not surfaced. And it is important to understand that this stigma is still continuing more and more. And also an important point to note is that more than half of the adult population in Kenya live below poverty lines. And so this great number of population in this nation are people who have been born by people who are living in very low lives and where in most cases are exposed to sexual issues when they are very young, when they are too young. It's amazing sometimes in Kenya, when you go to the slums and in rural areas where we have poverty levels that are very high, you meet people who share one room in one family. And so there is the issue of when parents are on their duties of marital sexual duties, the children are there watching, and so they are so much exposed. And in these early times when these young ones were being born, prevention of mother-to-child care was not there. So quite a number of children were born with HIV. And due to stigma from all angles, that is self-stigma, family stigma, societal stigma in schools, faith-associated stigma, most of these children who have survived have not been able to live positive lives as they live hiding lives. And these youths at this age, you expect are the ones who are at a verge of looking for their marriage partners and also intimate friends that they can relate with. And they are sexually active and engaged in sexual relationships. No wonder Kai's report KAIS is Kenya AIDS Indicator Survey, reports that the prevalent rate of HIV has gone down in Kenya from 11% to 6%. However, the infections of HIV is highly going up in an alarming rate to adolescents and youths. This is something that needs to be chilled and swallowed. It is important to remind ourselves that Africans are notoriously religious, borrowing from the thought of Biti, which I take as true. And hence, faith communities becomes very important and paramount in HIV prevention. INERELA, as a faith community, has come up with safe model of HIV prevention, where this SAVE is an acronym which wants to teach about safer practices, access to medication, nutrition, and other services that people living with HIV would need. And V for voluntary and confidential testing and counseling, and also empowerment. And as this model continues to be taught by INERELA, because they are religious leaders who always tell people to shun evil, INERELA has found the evils that are found in HIV. And these evils are stigma, shame, denial, discrimination, inaction, and misaction. And these are the evils that each and every one needs to work on so that we can be able to deal with HIV. INERELA encourages everyone, as the government provides youth-friendly services in hospitals, faith communities also need to give the young ones safe spaces to express their in-depth feelings. This is well done by linking HIV and immorality, because they actually don't have any relationship. And especially when you think about those children who were born with HIV. And this can also be done through the youth support groups. INERELA is training and rolling out life and relationship skills curriculum, which is comprehensive in the wholeness of human relationship, including sex and sexuality. This curriculum covers from the young age 4 years, all the way to over 90 years. This is helpful because sex and sexuality are topics that are kept in taboo shelves in faith communities, and when spoken about, they are given negativity connotations. The sex negativity probably inclined from the early faith leaders' teachings like St. Augustine, Tertullian, and the like, and also myths from our traditional leaders about human sexuality has today shown itself in the form of sexual gender-based violence. And to a larger extent, going to mental health problems like depression, anxiety, addiction, And this goes to addictions to drugs, addictions to sex, addictions to alcohol. INERELA take a great focus and concern to people living with HIV to enhance treatment adherence. This would support the WHO, the World Health Organization, treatment cascade, where 90% of populations test by 2020, and 90% of the found positive are put in treatment, and 90% who are put in treatment are able to suppress viral load. This knowledge of you equals you, undetectable equals untransmittable, must be good news to everyone. INERELA enjoins civil societies to lobby and advocate for sexual reproductive health services without discriminations to everyone. This includes the key populations. All faith communities need to understand that key populations are also human beings created in the image of God, hence need care and support like any other human beings. In conclusion, I highly recommend that INERELA ministry to adolescents and youths in Kenya, in Africa, and in the world is a prime and worth ministry to support. The governments, civil societies, and faith communities need to work together to curb HIV to adolescents and youth in preparation to wholeness in adulthood. Because, as we say in Africa, that our tomorrow is in our youth. It is in our children. And so we need to take care for these young ones. We need to stand firm with them. We need to curb HIV and stand on this, that you equals you. Let us work together to make everyone who is living positive with HIV to be undetectable so that they can not transmit HIV. This is the only way we can kill HIV. Thank you very much.